So for today, I want to talk about calculating numbers on a rental property. Um, I guess first thing that you got to do, let's say you decided you want a rental property, you're going to have to figure out what you want, right? So the amount of return you want, if it's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, whatever return you want on the money you put in, right? Your cash on cash return. Um, So that's the first thing you got to figure out. And the way I tell people to figure it out, you got like an X and Y graph, right? X is on the bottom, Y is on top. So on the X axis, you're going to have your return. Over here, you're going to have a decent return. Over here, you're going to have a high return, right? And on your Y axis, you're going to have your tenant quality, right? Tenant quality is going to be really high at the bottom, and it's going to keep going down as you go up on the graph, right? So down here in the graph, right? You're going to have a decent return with really high tenant quality. And when you come up here, you're going to have really high return with a much lesser quality tenant, right? So that's for you to decide, depending on if you're going to have management or you're going to manage it or whatever the case may be. Again, if you want me to go more in depth about that or just send me a question on it, I can explain it to you more. But once you got all that figured out, you're starting to look at properties, you find a property, it costs this much, you know you're going to get this much in rent. This is kind of what I want to talk about. So every single calculation, you're going to want to do a CapEx, which is capital expenditure. So that means like your furnace, roof, all the big stuff that can go wrong. You want to put money aside every month for that, right? And the way you figure that out is it all depends on the age of the furnace, the age of the water heater, the age of all that stuff. So you put all that together, figure out how much it costs to replace it, figure out how much more life you have, and that's how you really actually calculate that number, right? Then you want to do utilities if you have any. Most places probably don't. Mostly if you have like a single family, right, you should have the tenant paying everything. That's how I do on mine. I don't want to deal with any of that. And your maintenance, right? Stuff is always going to break. You probably own a house, your parents own a house, someone you know owns a house. There's shit always breaking, okay? The other very, very crucial part of this is management. Always put in management or take out management, right? So always do that. Even if you're going to self-manage it, you don't want to work for free, right? You need to have something in there. The third thing is when you buy a new property, everyone looks at, oh, look at how low the taxes are. Well, once you buy it, those taxes get uncapped. They're going to go up, right? So you need to figure out and put that into your calculation, or else once you get the property and you run your numbers with the old taxes, it's not going to be the return you actually wanted, right? And then same thing with insurance. Like the people are paying X amount of insurance on this place. When you get it, it might be different, right? So it's easy enough to get an insurance quote. The other thing that I cannot stress enough, mostly like with what's going on now, I saw people buying properties they would not work as a normal rental, but they made it work off an Airbnb. Well, Airbnb right now is not doing too hot, right? Some are because some people need to self-quarantine and they'd rather be in a house. So for what it's worth, always run your number on what rent in that area is. If you buy a house and all the other houses are getting $1,200 in rent, if it doesn't work with those numbers at the price that they're selling it for, or you negotiate down, don't do it. Find another one. Don't put yourself in that terrible position. So I have a calculation sheet that I made up because I used to just do this on paper over and over again. And I was like, this is dumb, right? And my calculation sheet has everything in it. It has, you can put in your loan, you can put in your taxes, you can put in your insurance, you can put in your capital expenditures, your maintenance, management, what else you got in there? Pretty much everything you take out. And let's say for CapEx, I usually run it it depends on the property. If it's pretty much a nice property, I run it at 3%, maintenance 3%, management 10%. It can be lower. I always am aggressive on it because best thing that's going to happen, if I get the property for that price and I'm aggressive on everything else, I'm going to be getting a higher return on it, right? So that's kind of how I run my numbers. If you want that calculation sheet, let me know. I can send it your way. And I'll make a video. I'll try to find a place. I'll try to find like two examples, one with a super high return and one with like a okay return, to kind of just show you what the numbers look like and what your return would be for those two properties. But let me know if you have any questions, and hope you have a great day.